I can't hear anything.
Here, Counselor Chiniakos, Mayor Trister.
Here.
All present.
Councilor Draco as well. Should get Councilor Draco.
Yeah. Did I
She's here too.
Just a second.
She's sorry.
She's present. All right. So I guess we'll move along then, Scott, to the presentation. Yeah. Well, welcome everyone tonight. I guess we can get started that way. This is the second public hearing in our budget process. The first was the town manager's proposed budget. This is still going to be the town manager's proposed budget. We did not vote to make any changes at the last meeting as we just didn't feel like we had enough time yet. The budget process has been a little accelerated due to the holiday various holidays falling on when they are. So the amount of time we've had to go through it is a little accelerated this year. However, we feel really good about where we're at in the process right now. We're moving along really well. And I think, we're poised to have a really good finished product. That said, the budget I'll be going through tonight is not going to be very many new figures, but I'll offer different commentaries as we get through it. You go to the next slide. First is just an overview of sort of the budget schedule here. Obviously, you can see where we're at. It's April 2nd at 6 p.m. One thing that's not in here that, I want to encourage the public to be aware of and pay attention to is we do have another regular meeting next week on the 9th. And we plan to make quite a few budget changes at that meeting so that we can give the public some time to review it. We don't want to come in at the last minute and make a whole bunch of changes. So the plan would be to have a bunch of changes by next meeting. So though it's not on the calendar in the schedule right here, please come and participate and pay attention to it and be involved with it so we can get some input. Next slide, please. The next slide is just going to be a breakdown of our appropriations. The total budget appropriated from the town manager's budget this year is $140,022,528, which represents an increase of about 5.7 million over last year, or 4.3%. Of that, as you can see, 42 million represents the town side budget, 85 million plus for the Board of Education budget. That is, where are we at? I can't read that. Oh, that's for MDC, 4 million for MDC, sorry. And then debt service totaling about 3.3 million. There we go. And our CIP of just over 7 million. Go to the next slide, please. This just shows a historical breakdown over the last 5 years of how our budgets have been appropriated and how funds have increased since 2020. As you can see, there was a little drop off as something happened in 2020, I forget. But that probably added to that. But as you can see, we're coming back into more of a range where we were prior to COVID. And that's kind of a theme that I think we're going to be looking at. with the entire budget is really trying to return to sort of pre-COVID functioning and where we can in different areas. So we're going to be looking at the budget in that sense. Next page. Yep, thank you. So this budget that was proposed by the town manager has no new initiatives in it. And programs. Again, that's an area we're looking at making changes to and seeing where there is a need for new programs or services. So that's going to be something to take a look at and change. It also represents our NIPSI wages per union contract, contract negotiations with AFSCME, software maintenance, employee benefits, personnel changes, and inflation for parts and materials. You know, it's no secret that the cost of goods and pretty much everything has gone up. So that's represented in this budget as well, as our expenses for medical expenses increase. This is our town CIP budget that we've been proposed. Again, we're going to be going through this and probably looking to make some changes again to reflect sort of a pre-COVID understanding. We really want to get back to sort of how we functioned before. Go to the next one. Yeah, here's the next one. So you can see total CIP appropriation is about requested is about 8.2 million. Sorry, I'm gonna round if I can, so I don't have to say the whole thing. 8.2 million for all of those. So yeah, that's another area we're gonna be looking at and seeing where we can make changes to as well, as we think there is definitely some opportunity there. This represents the Board of Education's CIP budget for their various, the plans that they have for their bus replacement program and the district-wide HVAC replacement. This is an overview of where we're at in our debt services. As we know, we are still paying for the Anna Reynolds School project and the Town Hall building project and a couple of other things, but we will be adding to this in the near future with the John Wallace project. So our debt service will increase over the next year as well. This is sort of a breakdown of our estimated revenues. We're getting, about $1.8 million from levies and interest liens. About 25 million is coming from state aid. 2 million from permits, charges, and all other sources. 2 million applied. 2.8 million is coming from our general fund, and the rest is being levied through taxes. 111 million. It's no question that we have had challenges. We're in a challenging fiscal environment. It's a challenging economic environment, not just for Newington, but many, many other towns in the area and in the region and in the nation. Inflation's affecting everybody and market conditions, and we're not immune to it. So these are some of the challenges that we faced. Grand list growth. We did have a modest growth to our grand list, but not enough to keep up with those inflationary needs. We had specific infrastructure needs that needed to be addressed and had to be fixed and dealt with. And with the focus was continuing to provide services with limited resources up to our standard and our high level. So I mean, we have a challenging task in front of us, and that's really the way we've approached it, thoughtfully and carefully, to ensure that we can meet our needs and continue to move forward. Give a breakdown. This is a breakdown of how the state aid is distributed to us. As you can see, it's a total of 25 million, but it comes in a few different areas in a few different ways. As is proposed in this budget, there is a modest increase to the mill rate proposed in the town manager's budget. Here's some of the reasons why. Additional appropriations to the town of $1.57 million, which is an increase over last year. Additional appropriations to schools of 3.2 million, almost 3.3 on top of what ahead of last year. 800,000 in debt services, that's coming off, so that's a good thing. And then on non-tax revenue of just about 700,000, which is coming off as well. These are all the things that sort of attributed to the proposed increase in the mill rate. So yeah, this is, you can see here, the way it's sort of split up and way the revenues are split up and how we get them and where it's levied. The motor vehicle tax is is a little bit different, but we're moving right along on that. This is a nice graph to illustrate sort of the last 20 years of our mill rate. It's been flat and reasonably flat for a little while, as you can see, which is probably part of the reason why we're due for a modest increase. Next one. And this is the impact that this budget would have on the individual taxpayer. Annually, it's about $202 additional to the tax, to your tax, to the average taxpayer. Obviously, it's going to differ from person to person, but that's based on this proposed budget. Again, you know, we are at the point in our process where we really are focused on deliberations now and deciding what was in the best interests of our community. Everyone in the town and the way it's sort of structured, everyone's sort of accountable to one entity or another. You know, the schools, there's a chain of command that works up to the superintendent. In the town, there's departments and there's individual department heads, and that works up to the town manager, and the town manager is accountable to the council, as the superintendent is accountable to the Board of Education. But we on the council are accountable to the taxpayers, and that is who we consider and who we think about as we move forward in our deliberations. And that's really where we're at right now. We're going to be looking at making changes to the budget over the next week to accommodate all of those different things, areas where we think we need to increase, areas where we can decrease, and most importantly, evaluating that with the taxpayer in mind at all points in time. So with that, we reached the end of our presentation. And we will open up the floor because we really want to hear from the public and where you stand with everything. So please, you are welcome to come up to the microphone if you'd like. Please state your name and address for the record. If you are on Zoom and you'd like to participate, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Come on up.
Hi, my name is Jonas Roberts, 6 Visitor Drive here in Newington. I'd like to start by thanking you for your service to our community. I do serve the community as a third grade teacher at Amarillo School. I'm also a father of 4 and all 4 of my children. Schools. I'm here to speak tonight on the budget. My hope is that I'd like to encourage you to fully fund the budget proposed by the Department of Education. But I understand your work towards alleviating the burden on the taxpayers. So if you cannot fully fund it, it will be closer to the budget that was proposed by the Board of Education. I spoke at the Board of Ed meeting, and I've been speaking for years at these types of meetings. I've seen both the board and the council work hard to not lay off teachers, which I greatly appreciate as a parent and as a teacher. We have lost several positions due to attrition when a teacher retires or if they leave to go work in another district. Often one way to resolve the budget is to not refill those positions. I like to think about that as like a car. When a spark plug goes, you could still drive your car. I've had that happen before, but eventually that car is not going to be as efficient. It is going to break down. And my fear is that if that practice continues, our school system is going to start to break down. So I would like you to keep that in mind as you go through those deliberations. All 4 of my children have taken separate pathways to post Newington High School life and work in the public life. My youngest is a senior and graduating, so this budget really has no impact personally on my children, but I will continue to speak because you know, I'm a citizen here and I believe in it, and I'm speaking for my students and their families. There was a wonderful citizen who spoke, and I'm going to quote her. I wish I knew her name to give her the credit for this, but about 10 years ago, she implored the budget to be fully funded because when her children went to school, and she had very little money and was working 2 jobs, the citizens gave her children the best education they could possibly get. And my children have gotten the best education they could possibly get. And I would like that for all future generations of Newington students. So I am happy to do my part and have my taxes go up slightly and pay for other people's children to get the best of Newington. And that will keep our community strong and people want to continue to move here and stay in Newington. Thank you for considering.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking. Seeing nobody on Zoom. Anybody in the room would like to come up? Come on up.
Alita Haas, 45 Lincoln Road. I have been watching the Board of Education work through their budget recently, and it is quite high, but I don't like how suddenly the threat to teachers comes down. Every time there has to be cuts, it always comes from the superintendent's office that it's going to be the staff, it's going to be teachers, it's going to be those that are helping the students and have a direct impact on the students. That I don't agree with. There was a tough question asked about the non-bargaining salary increase line. That question was not answered. That information has not been shared with the Board of Ed. I don't know how they can do their job if they're not getting the information they need from the superintendent's office. So I'm here to ask you today as the town council that perhaps you can get that information so that our Board of Ed members can do their jobs. It's very frustrating as a taxpayer to sit there and watch that and watch them struggle and then not have the answers either. So it's just that simple. I don't want the teachers threatened when we don't have full information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Floor is open. If anyone would like to come up?
Good evening, council. My name is Mike Pino from 78 Liberty Street. I'm just speaking as a concerned citizen and as a father of two, one who currently attends Anna Reynolds, and as an uncle of two students at Patterson. Unfortunately, I feel like, mainly my question is like, what sort of services are going to be impacted by the proposed cut? Because I know it's not just teacher salaries, but social services as well that students depend on and that impact the community. And part of the reason why I'm here is because I, realize it's not just a local issue, but an ongoing trend across the nation as well, where we're seeing cuts to education that possibly affect the most precious resource we have, which is our kids and their future. And I firmly believe that the impact our education system shapes and molds critical thinking citizens of our community. And so I'm just here in support of the budget proposed by the Board of Education. I don't think that, at the expense of our children, I'd be happy to pay a little extra in taxes to know that they're receiving the best education that they possibly can. I'm a product of the Newington school system myself. It's actually one of the main reasons why I came back to Newington when we were looking for homes to purchase. And so, yeah, that's my 2 cents, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Amanda Miano, 67 High Ridge Drive. I'm here again tonight to ask Town Council to reinstate budget presented by the Board of Education that wouldn't require any layoffs. I believe if this budget is not passed, it will be a huge disservice to our students, teachers, and staff. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine challenged each and every one of you to visit a school and see what it's like. I wonder if any of you have accepted this challenge. If you know I know after the meeting, I was in the school helping for a book fair. I wondered to myself how the impact of the budget town council would affect, would have on the students and put an even bigger strain on staff who already work so tirelessly at the ratio there is now, and can't even imagine what it would do if there were even less staff. I myself was exhausted just after a few hours of working in the school. As previously stated, my husband and I moved to Newington for the great school systems here. I fear that soon Newington will not be known for their great schools, and it will drive people out of town and cause our property values to decrease. So please consider reinstating the budget presented by the Board of Education that wouldn't require any layoffs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Kristen Colanino. I live at 92 Cherry Hill Drive. So I wrote something up here, but I just need to go with my heart. After COVID, life has been, I don't know. And our children need more than ever the programs, the teachers, the security guards. They need the support, right? And if it means my taxes go up $300 a year, I swallow it, because realistically, our kids are going to be sitting in your seats one day. And if we don't provide them what they need now, these seats aren't going to matter. So, and also I moved here 12 years ago. My husband and I both grew up in Wethersfield, and we wanted something different, right? We both went through the school systems, and we just decided that we knew people who went to Newington. We saw reports. We thought that Newington was the place that we needed to be, right? So now my daughter's in 3rd grade. She's got a long way to go. And I just fear that if we don't support our education, it means nothing. So I just ask that you please honestly take a look, see where you can cut, see where you can change things so that you can support the full budget that the Board of Education put in place, truly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the room or over Zoom that would like to participate in the hearing? Going once. All right, well, no one's raised their hand on Zoom. No one else wants to come from the room. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
A motion by Counselor Mackey, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and speaking.
Thank you.
Thank you.